Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to do the stock analysis of a very interesting company called Greaves Cotton. Before we begin, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and follow me on different social media channels as well. Let's get started. So Greaves Cotton is a very diversified company. It is into multiple businesses like automotive and non-automotive engines, e-mobility, finance, and expanding their business globally. So they are into clean tech powertrain solutions. They manufacture generator sets, farm equipments, and they also provide aftermarket sales and service for their products. And their new venture is into e-mobility, where they are providing two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and light commercial four-wheelers. Presently, they are manufacturing 4 lakh engines per year, which comes to about one engine per minute. So that is the scale of operations of their uh, engines business. This is a very old company. They are into the market for more than 162 years, so their brand has a lot of trust. They have 6 manufacturing facilities. They have more than 6,300 plus dealers working with them and 500 plus retail touchpoints. Their business verticals can be broadly classified into automotive, non-automotive, e-mobility, and finance. Now let's talk about the management of this company. Mr. Karan Thapar is the chairman of this company. He's a chartered accountant by profession, and he is managing this business for more than 30 years now. He has expertise in managing various diversified businesses, and he's son of Mr. Lala Karamchand Thapar, who was a veteran businessman. He also owns a company called Premium Transmission Private Limited, which manufactures power transmission products. Now, coming to the managing director and CEO, Mr. Nagesh Basavanhalli. He is a managing director and group CEO. He has done BE in mechanicals. He's an MBA from Chicago Booth Business School, and he has done masters from University of Texas. He also has experience of more than 15 years as being on board of directors of different companies. His expertise include business strategy and product planning. In Greaves Cotton, he was the CEO of Greaves Cotton for 2016 to 20, and now in November 2020, he has become the group CEO. Now let's talk about the journey and milestones of this company, which is a very long history. They started in 1859 by founders James Greaves and Greaves Cotton. So for a lot of us who have a myth that this is a textile company, the company's name is on the basis of their founders' names, which are James Greaves and George Cotton. In 1937, they entered into a joint venture with Crompton Greaves to manufacture electrical products, which is a very well-known brand to us. In 1939, they again did a joint venture with Ruston and Hornsby Limited, which is a UK-based company, and started manufacturing diesel engines in India. In 1947, Lala Karamchand Thapar bought Greaves, and then it became the Indian company. So, as an Indian company, its history starts from 1947. In 1962, they pioneered the technology for manufacturing marine gearboxes in India. In 2001, they entered into the segment of concrete equipment. In 2005, they started manufacturing light diesel engines which were eco-friendly. In 2017, they reached a benchmark of 5 million customers with made in India engines. In 2018, they opened their 100th Greaves Care Center for fuel and electric vehicles. In Greaves Care Center, they provide after sales and service for their already sold products. In 2019, they partnered with Mahindra, which wanted to source BS6 ready powertrain solutions from them. And they also launched BS6 compliant, world's cleanest single cylinder diesel engine. So you can see that they are evolving and updating their technology as the industry structure is changing. In 2020, there were multiple milestones. Ampere launched an electric scooter called Magnus. They also launched their series of smart generators. They acquired 74% stake in an e-rickshaw company called Bestway, and they also launched OHV petrol pump set. So they ventured into petrol pump sets also. In 2021, they made a plan to invest about 700 crores for e-mobility manufacturing plant. With this, they have made a memorandum of understanding with the Tamil Nadu government. So this is going to be a big project to play the EV theme in India. A few of their customers are Mahindra, Piaggio, Tata, TVS, Atul. So you can see that all big brands are working with them. Now let's talk about their business. Broadly, their business has 5 segments: automotive business, non-automotive, electric mobility, retail, Greaves Finance, and Greaves Global. In automotive, the first sub-segment would be automotive engines. In this, they manufacture engines which are used in three-wheelers and four-wheelers, light commercial vehicles. They are available in all kinds of product ranges like diesel, petrol, hybrid, electric, and CNG. Their CNG engines deliver up to 30% less emission and up to 30% more efficiency. So the customers prefer them as their engines are more efficient and they are more eco-friendly. They are also doing trials to comply with the CNG-based BS6 compliant engines, which will be launching very soon. After the sales, the aftermarket market sales support comes. So in aftermarket, in automotive segment, they are providing post-sales services through their service centers. They have more than 6,300 aftermarket retail outlets supported by more than 10,000 mechanics. This business of sales and support has emerged because their primary business needs this support after the sales. This business is gaining more traction and they are trying to expand their network of service centers also. Now, what are the risks which this automotive business might face? The diesel vehicles demand is slightly going down every year, as you can see. So there is a downtrend in the usage of diesel vehicles as people are preferring more cleaner fuels and eco-friendly fuels. The emission norms are getting more strict, so their products have to comply with those norms. There are a lot of duplicate products prevailing in the market, and COVID also posed some challenges to this automotive industry. In this segment, their competitors would be Cummins India, Kirloskar Industries, and Swaraj Engines. Now, coming to the non-automotive business, in non-automotive, their first subsegment would be non-automotive engines. These engines are used in agricultural products, industrial use, marine, gardening, and a lot of irrigation applications, railways, and defense. In this, they have partnered with micro entrepreneurs and other equipment manufacturers to increase their output. So, by using their engines, the industrial manufacturers get better output and the agricultural and other sectors get better efficiencies. Now coming to the industrial engines, in industrial engines they have an advantage as they have the widest available range of from 1.5 HP to 700 HP diesel engines, which are also supported by CNG and gasoline. So they are kind of a market leader in terms of range of products in industrial engines. These engines are now being used in fire pumps and also tractors. So these sectors are also getting more demand of industrial engines. Coming to the auxiliary power business, which in simple words are the generator sets. They manufacture various types of generators, and nowadays they are also working on manufacturing hybrid generators. The generators are CBCB compliant generators, which meet the demand of all the sectors as per their requirements and the government regulations. And in this business also, the Greaves brand is quite well recognized. Coming to the farm equipment business, in this they manufacture products like pump sets, tillers, irrigation machines, agri equipments, and other things. And they are working on their and and for this segment they always work on cost efficiency so that the farmers get the best of the products at the most efficient prices. For the non-automotive segment, what could be the different risks? COVID is obviously a risk for the non-automotive segment also globally. The emission norms which are applicable to the new machines could be a risk. The non-automotive products are also having cheap imported substitute, and now with the coming of electric technology, there are some industrial motors and machines which are of low capacity, but the electric technology is supporting them. So these products which they are already manufacturing may get affected due to the demand in electric motors. In generator sets, again the hybrid generator sets with gas and other hybrid fuels are getting popular, and the diesel generator sets are getting less popular. And if at all they want to manufacture new generator sets or higher capacity generator sets, they need huge amount of investment in this industry. The agricultural inflation is rising, which may pose a threat to them, and the climate related risks like monsoon and all, which affect the farmers, will also affect this particular business. In non-automotive products like agricultural products, industrial pumps and engines, and DG sets, they have competitors like Escorts, VST Tillers, HMT India, Bajaj Electricals, Kirloskar Industries, Shakti Pump, Mahindra Powerol, Yamnar Engine, which is a Japanese company, Jackson, and JCB, interestingly, also is into DG sets. Now coming to the most futuristic business of this company, which is electric mobility. In electric mobility, they are working on two-wheelers and three-wheelers. In two-wheelers, they have acquired a company or a brand called Ampere, which is India's leading electrical two-wheelers brand. In 2018, they acquired 67.34%, and in 2019, they acquired 100% of Ampere. And Ampere is a leader in both B2B and B2C segments. 13% of Greaves revenue in Q4 FY21 came from the sale of Ampere vehicles, which is a substantial portion. So you can see that this particular segment is getting more revenue share in Greaves revenue. Ampere is one of the fastest growing retail network of e-vehicles. They have more than 328 dealers and they are present in more than 260 cities. They have more than 12-year experience in this segment and they have pan-India presence. Now they are coming up with a new manufacturing facility, which is a mega site, as you can see from the image. And Ampere is leader in the electric vehicles two-wheeler segment in India. Coming to the e-rickshaw segment, in this also they did an acquisition. They acquired 74% stake in a company called Bestway Agencies. Bestway Agencies sells three-wheelers, electric three-wheelers in a brand name called LA. And this is another step towards their segment into e-mobility. So you can see along with the two-wheelers, now into three-wheelers, Greaves is taking up the e-mobility segment pretty seriously. The electric vehicle segment doesn't have major risk other than the COVID, and this industry doesn't have much acceptability still in India, and it is still at a nascent stage with very less infrastructure like charging stations and all. In this, they could face competition with all the big players in the two-wheeler segments, which will slowly, gradually launch a range of electric vehicles like Bajaj, TVS, and Hero. And there is already a brand called Ather, which is selling two-wheelers. Now, coming to their finance business, this business was also started to support their other businesses. So, whenever somebody needs a two-wheeler or they need some other engines and other products, if at all they need financial support, this division lends them money. So there's an NBFC called Greaves Leasing Finance, which is a registered RBI NBFC. Through this, they are lending money to their customers. So their primary focus in this is to support their e-mobility segment. Leasing company is their wholly owned subsidiary. They have recently partnered with a company called Wheels EMI, which is also an NBFC, to promote their sales of Ampere vehicles. And they are expanding their finance business a lot more in the tier 2 and tier 3 city. The finance business has a certain risk, like most of the people who are borrowing money are the first time borrowers. So repayment would be a risk to them. And financing requires a lot of due diligence, which has to be taken care of. Otherwise, it will lead to bad debts. In finance, they have to compete with all the big banks and NBFCs in India, which are HDFC, Kotak, SBI, and all of them, and NBFCs like L&T Finance, Bajaj Finance, etc. And on top of this, there are a lot of fintech startups which are coming, which will lend money very quickly online. So they are also competing with such businesses. Now coming to Greaves Global. Greaves Global is not a separate business, but this is a way of expanding their business globally. So globally, if you see, now they have footprints in Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, Africa, Middle East, and Europe. They have also tried to enter into or exploring new markets like Philippines, Cambodia, and Mexico. In SAARC countries, they have already started doing their power generators business. In globally, there will be more competition as global players will come into picture, and COVID also remains a threat in a global business as a lot of countries have import and export restrictions. Now coming to the industry analysis, the global automotive engine industry, if you see, it was valued about $350 billion in 2020. And this industry will grow to about $460 billion by 2026. So there will be a steady increase in the engine market. The Asia Pacific region will continue to be one of the major markets for the automotive engines. India has moved to BS6 compliant engines and other products. The auxiliary power market, which is the diesel engine sets, the demand is mainly driven by the construction or the real estate segment, industrial segment, railways, telecommunications, airports, and industrial sectors. So if the industries perform well, the economy performs well, there will be more demand of the DG sets. Otherwise, they have to suffer along with the other industries. As per a CRISIL report, if you see, the battery prices are on a downtrend and they will reach by about $150 per kilowatt by FY 2025. In India, if you see the three-wheelers electrical segment, it is expected to grow at a CAGR of about 46% up to 2025. So you can see that the three-wheelers electrical segment will be growing by leaps and bounds. If you see the two-wheeler industry, electric two-wheelers industry in India, it will grow at a CAGR of about 70 to 75% in the next 5 to 6 years. So you can see that the company is focusing on a sunrise sector. Compared to the other vehicles, if you see, the micro hybrid, the demand is stable. In mild hybrid, the demand is more, and in the battery electric vehicles also, there's a steady demand globally in China, Europe, North America, and rest of the world, all of the other countries also. Now, what are the competitive strength of Greaves when compared to its competitors? Their products are economical and their products are very efficient, which will save the cost of their customers. In terms of leadership, they have leadership in a lot of segments like electric two-wheelers. In diesel engines, as we have discussed, they have the widest range of diesel engines. And they are working on newer technologies and upgrading their products. They have innovation centers to develop new technologies. Their capital management is done well, as you can see in the coming slides that the company has negligible debt. They are making smart investments and acquiring companies which are into good sectors. They are maintaining operation efficiencies and keeping their costs pretty less. They have dominant positions in certain industries, and The brand has a rich legacy of trust, and wherever they venture into new business, people develop trust in them and their products start selling quickly. Now, coming to the growth prospects in the near future, there's a broad trend wherein the usage of fossil fuels led vehicles will get reduced and electric vehicles will increase. There's a lot of government support from the consumer side and also to the industrial side. From the consumer side, the GST on electric vehicles is reduced from 12% to 5% for two-wheelers. And whenever somebody buys an electric vehicle, they are getting a deduction in the interest paid on loan up to 1,50,000. There are exemptions in road tax, toll tax, parking to push the demand. And the government has also sanctioned a PLI scheme up to 181 billion rupees and 570 billion rupees for the battery segment as well as automobile auto components. So the government is supporting this segment quite a lot. The company plans to expand their retail network continuously. They want to focus more on the rural demand as they see good demand coming in from the tier 2, tier 3 cities, towns and rural areas. They also want to foray into three-wheelers accessories. They want to launch new products which are compliant as per the BS6 norms of the government. They will be now entering into multi-brand products in the two-wheeler segment. They are collaborating with big tech companies to manufacture the BS6 compliant products. In the urban cities, people will travel more, leading to the more demand of vehicles. And post-COVID, people prefer to travel on their own vehicles. And also, when people don't get jobs, they look for alternatives like buying a commercial three-wheeler or four-wheeler or a passenger three-wheeler and using them as a livelihood of earning for them. Recently, the company has got an approval of a license for fire pumps, which is FM and UL approval. Now, after getting this, they'll get more sales in the domestic as well as the international markets. Interestingly, their fishing company is also using their products as engines for their power boats. And globally, the company wants to penetrate into newer markets and expand their network of sales. And in this journey of their expansion in all these segments, their leasing business will keep supporting them. Now, coming to the financials part, after discussing the business and the industry in detail, starting with the quarterly result, the revenue for this quarter was about 520 crores compared to 386 crores in the same quarter last year, which is about 35% growth. EBITDA was 42 crores compared to 24 crores, which is about 76% growth. The profit after tax was about 14 crores compared to 1 crore. EBITDA margin was about 8%. The new business share, which is e-mobility and non-automotive segment, is about 32% in Q4 FY21. So you can see that the company is transitioning into their new business lines gradually. The non-automotive segment accounts for almost 76% of revenue growth year on year. So it is going substantially well. Now coming to the yearly financials, if you see the 5-year revenue, it is kind of a flattish. They went from 1634 crores in FY17 to about 2000 crore in FY19. But there was a reduction in FY20 and obviously in FY21 due to COVID, there was a substantial reduction. So in terms of revenue, the growth doesn't seem to be so impressive. Now coming to EBITDA, EBITDA is also kind of flattish. In FY17, which is about 230 crores, it went up to 252 crores in FY19, and then in FY20, they witnessed a reduction to 200 crores. FY21 could not be considered because in the last first couple of quarters in FY21, the business was severely affected due to COVID. If you see the margins have been declining. So the margins have not been so strong. They have not been able to maintain their EBITDA margins at a decent level. And if you see the profit after tax, they were profitable for the last 4 years, but FY21 they encountered a loss of about 19 crores. Prior to FY21, also in FY19 and 20, there was a reduction in profits compared to FY18. If you see the profit after tax margin, it was stable for the first couple of years in FY17 and 18, but again they saw a reduction in 19 and 20 in profit after tax margins also. If you look at the EPS, because they entered into a loss in FY21, EPS is negative, and otherwise also EPS looks very flattish. Now coming to the balance sheet items, the share capital was steady at 49 crores from FY17 to 19, and they did a buyback of shares which led to reduction in capital in FY20 and 21. Reserves were steadily growing in the first 3 years of 17 to 19, and there was a reduction in reserves because of the buyback of shares in 2021. Coming to the borrowings, it was a completely debt-free company in FY17 and 18, and in the last 3 years they have debt, but it is a very meager debt which is negligible. Now coming to the fixed assets, they have been steadily growing. This shows that the company is incurring capex every year. The fixed assets increased to about 419 crores in FY20. If you see the inventory has been fairly stable, and there is no unusual increase in the inventory, which is alarming. Trade receivables have also been range bound, so there is no alarming increase in any year in trade receivables. Coming to the cash equivalents, this shows that the company's liquidity position has been quite strong. The cash and cash equivalents have grown from 12 crores to about 280 crores in FY21. So virtually the company is debt free, as the debt is very negligible. Now coming to the cash flow part, operating cash flows have been steady, and in FY21 they have done an operating cash flow of about 147 crores. The company has been doing positive free cash flows in the last 5 years. In FY21 they have done a free cash flow of about 98 crores. Now coming to the segmental growth, we are comparing Q4 FY20 with Q4 FY21 and the yearly comparisons. So if we compare the quarters, auto engines have degrown at 22% and degrown yearly at 63%. Non-auto engines have grown 56% compared to same quarter last year and 14% compared to FY20. So you can see that the business is degrowing in the auto segment and growing in non-auto segment, which is their new business. The genset has shown a growth of 49% compared to last quarter and 19% degrowth compared to the last year. If you see the light equipments, they have shown a growth of about 30% compared to Q4 last year and 22% degrowth compared to the FY20 figures. In the two-wheelers, if you see, it has grown 63% compared to Q4 FY20 and 22% on a yearly basis. So two-wheelers, electricals are seeing a steady growth. In three-wheelers also, compared to Q4 FY20, they have almost doubled, and 6% growth is seen compared to the entire year figures. So you can see that the e-mobility products are also showing steady growth. Now if we see the segmental revenue, in FY20, engines accounted for about 54% of the revenue, but in FY21, engines are accounting for only 48%. The aftermarket sales accounted for 21%, which has grown to 23%. The e-mobility has grown from 7% to 12%, and the other segments from 20% to 18%. So you can see the e-mobility is getting more share in terms of segmental revenue. Now let's understand the shareholding pattern of this company. The promoters hold about 55.60%, which is decent. FIIs hold about 4.94%, DIIs hold about 13.04%, public holds about 26%, out of which one of the ace investors, Mr. Mukul Agarwal, holds 1.73% in this company as on March 31st, 2021. FII holdings are falling from 2020 March quarter till 2021. It has gone down from 15% to 4% or about 5% now. But promoter holding has increased from 54.82% to 55.63%. The other financial highlights, like the net working capital, has gone down from 150 days to 26 days, so which is a good sign. ROE and ROCE are pretty less, as the company has reported losses recently. Debt equity is almost zero. Net profit margins are negative, as the company reported losses. Dividend yield in the last 2 years is zero, as they did not report any dividends in the last 2 years. There are no unusual related party transactions. The inventory ratio, turnover ratio is about 8.5%, which is pretty good and shows that the stock is moving very fast. Managerial remuneration is 6.9 crores, which is well within the limits. And stat auditors of this company are Deloitte Haskins and Sells, which is a Big Four firm. Now coming to the valuations part, the last traded price is 156, 52-week high and low is 66 to 169. So in the last 1 year, the stock has given a very good return of about 92%. Although if you see the last 3 and 5 year returns have not been that impressive, which is about 3 to 6% only. The market cap of the company is just about 3,600 crores, so it is a small cap company. P comes to 28 if I assume that the company would perform at least the same as FY20 in FY22. And the median P in the last 5 years comes to about 21, the industry P about 25. EPS would be negative, as they reported a loss, and face value is 2. Book value is about 33.8, so PB ratio comes to about 4.61. So in terms of PE and PB ratios, the stock appears to be a bit expensive. But looking at the charts, we can see support somewhere between 120 to 140 range. So if someone wants to accumulate and in this range, the valuation would be more reasonable compared to the present valuations. And technically also there is support in this range. Decent news and announcement, they have planned to spend about 110 crores in FY22 in terms of capex, mostly on the e-mobility segment. And recently they have decided to drop prices of their electric vehicles by 9,000, as they are getting a lot of benefits from the government. So this is about Greaves Cotton. To summarize, the promoters are very experienced and it's a legacy business. They are quite knowledgeable and experienced in managing such businesses. and they have built a very diversified business. In fact, they are still diversifying. The fundamentals appear to be decent, although they are not so impressive in the recent years. But if you look at their vision and their movement towards the new businesses which they are growing, we can expect the fundamentals to improve in the coming years. They have market leadership in certain products like electric two-wheelers and diesel engines. And this electric mobility segment will experience a lot of tailwinds and also the government support. It's a virtually debt-free company and they want to focus more on the e-mobility segment going further. Since the electric vehicles in India still is at a nascent stage, as this industry evolves more and more, this company is bound to get more business. And in whatever segments they are operating, in all the segments, the market size is huge, but they will face a lot of competition from their peers. In terms of results and growth, the results in the recent years have not been so impressive. The growth has been quite flattish. That is why they are not able to justify their present valuations. So if someone wants to invest in this company, their focus should be on their new businesses, which is the non-automotive products and their e-mobility segment, majorly their electric vehicle segment. So only when this company starts performing well in their new businesses, then only their valuation will get justified. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked the analysis. If you want me to make more videos on your favorite companies, don't forget to leave the name of the company in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on different social media as well. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.